Welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm glad we could finally catch up. And since we kind of lived together in the same area at one point, right?
We do.
You,
We're drinking. We
yeah,
definitely drank the same water.
we did that Connecticut water. You were from
Yep.
originally South Windsor, and I'm from
South
Manchester
Windsor.
originally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
nice.
pretty funny. It's so close. We know a lot of the same stomping grounds. So I think that's kind of a funny, odd fact that no one else will appreciate. So we'll move on.
Yeah.
um, so you've done about a billion different bands, like going out there like studio work and done all kinds of recording.
Yeah.
When you first got out into Hollywood, and as we go, if we can go, just go over a couple of some of the bands, but I want to, as you hit some of these bands, I know you got some new work coming out with them too. So I want you to promote all the new stuff you have. Okay.
Okay. I mean,
So
I mean,
yeah,
go ahead.
I would say, I know you got out there and you had you started off with a couple bands, but when you started known bands, did you start working Quite Right and Bang Tango around the same time?
The way that whole worked out, the way that whole thing worked out was I actually met Joe Lestay from Bang Tango first. He
Mhm.
hired me to be in Beautiful Creatures, do their second record and be in Bang Tango. And through him, I met Kevin Dubrow because they shared a booking agent. Because he
Okay,
was
because
booking at that time there was no Quiet Riot. Kevin was just out doing solo club dates, and me and Kevin met and immediately hit it off. And Kevin hired me for his band from there, and I just kind of bounced around through all those between all those guys: Janie Lane, Steven Adler, Lestay, Kevin, until Quiet Riot. Then eventually did reform, and I just committed straight to Quiet Riot.
so were you playing with those guys like I don't like one-off gigs and stuff, or writing with them, or just whatever
We
came
did,
up?
we did, we wrote together. We did package tours where I'd be. There was a tour called the Bad Boys of Metal, which was that you could write a book about this thing. It was celebrity rehab on wheels, basically. Um, it was Steven Adler, Janie Lane, Kevin Dubrow, and Jim Bang Tango all on one bus with
Oh,
me, a bass player and a drummer, being a common
oh,
backing band for the whole night. So I'm doing 42 songs a night with these guys,
oh.
6 nights a week. But I was only 26 years old, so I could do it.
You
I could
probably knew
still do
some
it
of the
now,
songs too
obviously.
originally, though, right? From growing
Yeah, I mean,
up.
it was most of all those bands hits, all the GNR stuff. Yeah, I actually knew a good portion of them, or was familiar with the arrangement in my
Right.
head when I signed on, and then just I went out and remember, bought the CDs, learned them, and did two rehearsals and got on the bus.
Cost you $3,000 to buy all the music for the show and
No,
CDs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
All the bands.
back when
That's a
we still
pretty
sold music. Yeah.
right. That's a pretty cool deal, actually. Did you write any music with someone? I know. So with Joe, you did. No, actually, I have little notes here. I know with Bang Tango, you did. You actually wrote on Ready Go,
Yep, I
Ready to
wrote the
Go.
whole record.
You did.
Yeah, I wrote that. I'm a writer on every one of those songs and the whole second Beautiful Creatures record, Deuce. I wrote with Joe. We have two whole records there. I did write with Janie, but none of it ever made it to the studio, unfortunately. Obviously wrote with Adler's Appetite,
Hmm,
and obviously wrote with Kevin and Quiet Riot. So yeah, it ended up yielding a lot of new music
that's
from
pretty
that
cool.
opportunity.
Well, I think you were combined with Bang Tango and Beautiful Creatures because obviously it was around the same
Yeah,
time period.
yeah.
And I think so. You also wrote on. Did you do Pistol Whip too? You wrote that one?
I wrote yes, I wrote one or two songs on that I actually think I played on it too. I think I phoned in a track, but no, I wasn't in the band at that point, but I did contribute a couple solos and a song or two, I believe.
That was a weird time. A lot of albums fell between the cracks. 'Cause I actually I hadn't heard Ready to Go till a couple years ago, but Pistol
I
Whip I
think
heard pretty
so.
quickly.
It's a yeah. I mean, we did it. I mean, the band that we had doing it, it really was. Bang Tango was such a special band. The original version, the way they were kind
Oh
of like
yeah,
Chili Peppers, funk
was it
funk
Kyle?
type
Is Kyle
thing.
Kyle still in it too? Bass player at that
No,
point.
this was a
He
whole.
left.
This was a whole new band that Joe
I thought
had.
he was the last one, the holdover for that album, and then he left
He
after
was
that.
not for that one, for the one before it. He was.
Um,
Yeah.
because I did hear it wasn't a bad album, but yeah,
Oh,
Bang Tango originally had its own sound. It just
oh yeah, they're the original, and they're back together now. The
totally all
original
of them.
lineup. Yeah, yeah. All five of them just played a show at the Whiskey before the pandemic hit. And I believe they're supposed to do more. So we'll see.
Well, I did hear they played, but I didn't know if they were all together. If it's just a one-off, and then he has his.
No, no. There's more shows booked for him. There is.
Oh, that's cool. That's really good to hear because I saw the documentary that he was, Joe's just going to carry the flag forever. So I'm glad to see they're
Oh
all
yeah,
together. He's a soldier. It's awesome. I love his voice.
he is.
Um, Deuce is probably when I first really knew who you were back then. That's my first introduction to you. It was a good album. Um,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I loved it. And then Hotel Diablo.
Well, that project came about like I think that was 2011, and that was sort of Mike Dudoff from Wasp really spearheaded that whole operation. He came up with the name and the concept, and then we all started writing songs together. We were using a singer named Rick Stitch from Toronto, who I worked with with Steven Adler, and we used Mike Dupke, the drummer from Wasp at the time, and it was a really good tight band. And Gilby Clark stepped in as a producer and helped co-write with us as well. From Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah.
So having Gilby
awesome.
there really gave it that. We were going for like a Velvet Revolver kind of some type of Pilots type thing, and Gilby definitely had that added that edge. He's great in the studio, and he definitely knows how to get a really good Gibson guitar sound.
I think he's underrated. I think musicians know him out in LA, but I don't think as far as production know. Like he's a good producer, and I think him being a guitar player.
Producer, yeah.
Well, I mean, I know, you know what I'm saying, but being a guitar player, being a musician, I always think being a musician and a production person plays so much into the songs because they can kind of work on the song. It's you know, different mindset.
100%. Yeah, he's a lot more well-rounded and well-versed than people think. He's underrated as a player and producer, but the people that know, the people that matter, they know for sure. So
I remember when he first came out with Kill for Thrills or Cheap Thrills.
Yep, Cure Me or Kill Me, he was called.
Yep, I had a cassette.
Love that.
Rolling around with his leather gloves on or something, and the crazy hair. And it's totally the Gilby you see now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Quiet Riot. The big, you've had the most times in there. What was your first album you did with him? Your first one?
The first album I was involved in with him was in 2006. It was called Rehab, and I co-wrote 2 songs on it, and that would be Kevin's last record, but it came out in 2006.
So you were with him for a couple of years before that, right?
Yeah, I joined the band in 2004. So this is my 17th year in the band.
Wow.
Yeah. 16. No, wait. Yeah. 17th. 2021 will mark my 17th band. My 17 years of being a member of Quiet Riot.
Yeah. Is the book that came out? It's coming out. I actually just did a review on promoting it. The Kevin DuBrow story. Roland, have you heard about that?
Yeah,
yet?
I haven't gotten a copy of it yet. I know the author. I met her at Kevin's funeral, but I do not have a copy of it yet. No. I heard it's really good though.
Yeah, I did too. I did Mark's interview, and then Mark said, "Oh, I'm working on this book with Missy. Talk to her."
Oh,
so we spent a lot of time. So what I'm getting to is we spent a lot of time talking about Kevin actually, and what he was like. You know, it's always such an interesting topic on how the outside of Kevin, people saw the more the divisive side of him, which always kind of led to, but you know, as you get older, you realize not everyone's like that, and he wouldn't be surrounded by as many good people if he was like that.
Right. Very true.
You know, what I learned is he was just really focused and really loyal, and he said it was on his mind. Probably sometimes
Kevin lived it. I mean, you always knew where you stood with him. He was a rock star 24 hours a day, and he was very honest. To almost to a fault sometimes, and a lot of people. I think it's a good quality. And if you really knew him, you know he had a heart of gold. He's the sweetest guy in the world.
Well,
and,
that's what I've heard.
Definitely a lot of fun.
I like that. I like to bring that up because I think people should know that now at this point. I mean, because I think he kind of got that reputation of being so bad for so long that Well,
that was the rock and roll persona and everything. But once that you get past all that bullshit, he's a really good human being, and really and a sense of humor like you've never seen before. I mean, one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life. Amazing.
I've heard that too. That's what I'm saying. Like whenever these interviews come out in the books, I'm glad they're coming out. Another side of him. He was a much kinder person and funnier. So the dynamic of the band with Frankie, and then when Kevin died, was there going to be a hold up, and then they decided to move on? Like, how did that?
Kevin died in 2007, and we took a few years off until Frankie decided he was ready to try to give it a shot again, and that was in 2010. And that's where the movie. I don't know if you've seen our movie, our documentary that's out.
I was a part of it.
Documents the whole thing. That it goes through the process of us, getting back together and the conundrum of finding a lead singer that can replace Kevin DuBrow, which, as you will see in the movie, is not that easy. There's not replacing a guy like that. Shit happens all the time. The bottom line is we have Jizzy Pearl now. And we're very happy, and we're gonna hopefully have some new music with him. And Frankie definitely Jizzy was Frankie's best, his favorite out of all of them, and Kevin really liked Jizzy, which was most important too, because a lot of the times we get these no-name guys in here, I always thought, what would Kevin think of this? Now I know for a fact, because I toured with Rat and Quiet Riot, with Jizzy was singing for Rat, that Kevin and Jizzy were buddies. You know, they weren't like super tight, but they got along. They respected each other, and they were cut from a lot of the same cloth as far as just focused on always being a great frontman. So I think that we finally got, you know, I think that now that Jizzy's back in the fold and things are solidified, we're right where we need to be singer wise.
I think it's great.
Yeah, you got to kiss a lot of you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince. You know.
I love Jizzy's voice, and what's really crazy about his voice is he's been able to sing in like what Elegans and then Rat and like his voice works.
Yeah.
Adler, I mean,
well, because he takes good care of it, and he's a pro, and he learns the parts properly. He's done it. You know, he's
got a rasp and a tone that just he can carry across all of them. You know.
Yeah.
There's something about his voice. It's not a typical voice. You're like, oh, if you heard his voice, you're gonna hear it on the radio. You'd be like, oh, you wouldn't, you know what I mean? Classify it. But he's been able to nail every one of those bands so well. And of course, his solo and his Love Hate stuff too. I think he's great. I'm a big fan of Jizzy. So I'm glad he's back.
I love Love Hate too, which is yeah, we're really glad he's back. I mean, he's one of us. He fits. A lot of these guys we had nothing in common with. I mean, Jizzy came up from the Sunset Strip scene. Mm-hmm. He knew, you know, he knew the drill, and he's a brother. You know, it's done. It was an easy. When we found out James Urban was quitting the band, we within a day had Jizzy back. It was easy, you know, no issues there.
Yeah, you guys had a different sound with him. I think you guys wanted to. You sounded a little different with him singing.
Well, yeah, you know,
he's a different kind of singer.
With anything, yeah, he's definitely you know, more modern active rock, and he's also a lot younger than all of us. That's probably why. Yeah. So yeah,
he is.
No, Jizzy fits them a little bit better, and we're really glad he's back.
I'm looking forward to hearing it with Jizzy actually, because I heard the other one. I was like, it's okay, but it didn't feel like what I wanted to hear. I'm really think Jizzy's gonna be the one who's gonna knock it home. What do you guys got planned now? So you got Jizzy in the band, you and Chuck, right? So
myself and Chuck, and we've got Johnny Kelly playing drums, who actually was the first one to fill in for Frankie when he got sick initially in 2019. He's from Typo Negative and Danzig, and he's great. He's family. He's been killing it behind the kit.
Oh wow,
Johnny Kelly, yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I was even with it. That's awesome, man. That's a good lineup.
Yep, great lineup.
Did you know Frankie beforehand too?
Well, when Frankie first fell ill, we had a show in Dallas, Texas, and Frankie called me asking if I knew any drummers in Dallas that could learn the set and be down there in 5 days to play it. And I called Johnny, and Johnny knocked it out of the park. And Frankie knew Johnny obviously through me, and they were on good terms. They always talked drums on Facebook and shit like that. So it was kind of a no-brainer. Just kind of fell into place, and I'm glad it did.
Well, I think it's good. I'm glad to hear that because it's like Frankie was kind of like talked to Kevin's mom. There's always like an honor and respect of like carrying on the torch if somebody leaves the band or passes away. Just it feels right doing it like that.
Exactly. It's not like you're just doing it like with everybody, all the chips, all the cards were on the table. Everything was all out in the open. It was very it happened very organically. I mean, it was an unfortunate situation, but I'm glad it would at least unfolded the way it did because it kept everything going and kept everything on a positive level by having someone we like working with all around like Johnny.
It is. It's really interesting because now, so the closest original member in the early days would be Chuck, probably. Not maybe.
He's got the most lineage to the Mental Health. He played.
I don't even know. Record, so he's been in and out. I don't know how long he's been in the band.
He's been in and out of the band a million times.
He has. Okay.
You gotta watch the movie.
I will. I'm sorry.
You need like two calculators to keep track of how many people are in and out of the band.
Yeah, it's not just you guys; it's all the bands. But I'm glad everyone's still doing it, though. It's awesome.
That's the way it is. Like it's like there's how many Yankees, how many Red Sox, how many Mets players come and go. It happens. You trade teams, Yeah.
My thought is like you can't go to work every day the same thing 20 years. It's like making an album. You can't make the same album over and over again. You can't work with the same people over and over again. You just can't do it, man.
And things evolve, and there's always a good reason behind it. And that's just, fans they romanticize a certain lineup or a certain thing. And like they'll post on the internet, I think they should get so and so. Like, that's great, but that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is what we're going to do because it's what we do for a living, and that's it.
Well,
you can't make everybody happy, and you got to do what's best for the brand.
And for you, before the brand is you guys. I mean, and that you were just saying that. I mean, if you living with somebody and working with them, making the best voice, you're not the only band. They have the best album. If you don't have a lot of time on the road with them, then you go on the road with them. You're like, yeah, you know what? Didn't work out. New singer, new album. Yep. I'm just saying in general because living on the road with somebody is different. I think with Jizzy it's gonna be great because Jizzy is a professional road dog.
And we've toured together. We've toured together off and on for 15 years. We know each other like that. It worked out perfectly.
What I'm saying? But he's a professional. He's been doing it the same.
He knows the drill.
He's in your peer group, so there's all from the same school. It's just it's a perfect fit. And I love it. I love all these albums are coming out really good. LA Guns is coming out with good albums. Everyone's got really good hits. You know, it feels like they're just as fresh. So I'm looking for you guys to kind of knock it home. Are you guys writing now, or?
We're working on some stuff. I mean, yeah, we've got some tracks from that we were working on with Frankie Pass, and we're just sifting through it and figuring out what the next move is. But you'll definitely hear new music from us at some point for sure.
So, did Frankie have any input towards talking about an album, like in his legacy, like saying, "Hey, do you leave anything behind?" Or say,
there's a lot of tracks that were left behind, and and we kind of had an idea of what we wanted to do with them. And it'll all come to fruition, all come to light very soon.
Okay, well, yeah, those are the details. I was kind of curious if he had. Well, I guess what my thought was, because he's such his life was such the band. He was so dedicated, and a very realistic thinker. So I was curious what he knew at some point, it was going to take him. I was just curious if he's like, you know what, here's how I see it rolling out. Here's what I would like you guys to do. I have some tracks here, or here's some thoughts I have, or I just wonder if you had any thoughts, like, moving forward or not.
all will be revealed, my friend.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'll edit that.
The answer is just we will be continuing on, and just plenty of plans, plenty of things in place.
Sorry. Just more as I talked to you, it's just more of a personal question. Actually, it wasn't like a written down question like I thought about. I'm like because he was so good at playing out things, and he was such
he knew
director.
I mean, he was always a couple steps ahead of everybody, and he was very he was very well very organized, very planned things out, and it's this band's run like it's a very tight ship. I mean, his wife has taken over as the manager and is doing a great job. I mean, it's really kind of been seamless. I mean, because ultimately we knew this horrible thing was coming, and we just prepared for it.
That's heartbreaking. I love Frankie. He was, as a fan.
I miss him so much every day, but at the same time, I know that every time I do something or help, carry on his thing or make a decision that he would have made, I know that that's him living on through me. So, and that doesn't just apply to music, just in life in general,
I love the fact that Quiet Riot is carrying on at this point with all the changes. In fact, just now you can say there's really no one that was first started it. But look, Radio Roads isn't. There's so many bands it's evolved, and it's fantastic. And it's, look at the guitarists the legacies you've been with Quiet Riot too. It's pretty cool, actually.
It is pretty
no one's
cool.
the same.
I'm very grateful to have been there. What's that?
I said, to get handpicked to be in that band, or the other artists there. No one's the same guitarist, but it's pretty cool to be that lineage, as far as that. It
definitely is very cool, and I'm honored to be able to keep doing it. With all we've been through, it's tough out there,
So you have another project, two actually, but we'll go with Scott, Mr. Coogan.
Oh yeah, the Coogan record. Scotty lives out here in Vegas, and for the past he moved away 2 years ago, but we made a whole record with a bunch of different Vegas musicians. It's almost like a hip hop. Really, it's a kind of music we really can't categorize, but it's really, really good, and but it's also very a little abstract. So we're trying to figure out. We're having a couple tracks mixed right now, but it's really it's going to be very interesting. We're just trying to figure out how to roll it out, how to present.
I wanted to hear you try to describe it, because when he was describing it, I was like, all right, I want to hear. Alex is going to describe it now.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like how do I describe? I don't know. It really is. It's definitely got the hard rock thing to it with some hip hop, and then some like almost Beatles-esque elements to it through Scott, because we're all into very different things.
Yeah.
How did he describe it?
Well, he said the rap and hip hop. He kind of bumped it around like you too, because there's really no way, which makes it really exciting sounding to me.
Yeah, I love because we're musicians. We're both sitting there. Like, what do you think? He's like, I don't know, man. This is a tough one,
Well, you guys are great musicians, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really good. Talking about the influences, he's, because obviously he's a big Beatles fan, and I'm a Beatles fan. We're talking about the Beatles, and then talking about how great a guitar player you are, and all the different projects you've been in, you've written in. So I'm like, so curious at how it's all gonna fit together. I'm excited to hear it. Hopefully soon we'll start to get here.
Definitely, it's definitely one for the book.
Awesome, man. The last thing I want to talk about is Hookers and Blow. What's going on? New album coming out, or?
We just released our fifth single. Comes out in a couple weeks. The pre-order went up yesterday. It's a cover of "Time of the Season" by the Zombies, and we've released 4 singles. Before that we've been putting out singles all year round. But late May 2021, May 21st, 2021, we are releasing a full-length album worldwide through Golden Robot Records. It's all done. It's all covers. It'll be our first release, and yeah, stay tuned on for all the details. But yeah, it's done. It's just a matter of getting the links up and everything.
So it started off as a cover fun project, all-star rotating thing. Has anybody ever talked about doing an original in there, or is it just flat out no one's like, I don't want to do it?
You know, we play on Disney's original records already as the same band, so we kind of intertwine the two together already. So I mean, you know what? Why not? We built the brand up as big. We got the band bigger than we ever thought it would be. I mean it's a real legitimate touring act, and we started off as a joke to get free drinks in Hollywood 17 years ago. And now look at it. Who'd have thought? Who'd have known we'd become a real band?
Well, that's the whole point. Like, it's you guys being musicians and all being in other bands and writing all the time. At one point, I imagine everyone's just kind of sitting around going, you know what? We could all write a song together.
I know. You know.
That's what I mean.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
It's not to actually change the dynamic of the band, because that's probably what the band is about, because then it may change it. I'm just like, you guys just being a bunch of musicians being like, we should write a song. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the whole point is, well, it's not.
I know.
You know?
It just seems like,
it would be even cooler if we didn't.
Okay. All right.
That's what I would say. Like, hey man, it'd be really cool if we could write an original song. That's like the White Stripes getting the bass player. You know?
All right. You win. Point taken. So that's coming out soon. Do you have anything else coming out in a while to promote?
No, not really. I mean, just Quiet Riots. We're going back. We're slowly, going back out on the road. Doing COVID friendly with the COVID compliant shows. We have one next month or early March in Jersey at a theater called the Vineland Theater. I'm sorry, the Landis Theater in Vineland, New Jersey. And just working on new music for all my projects, and just trying to stay safe during this whole thing and keep myself busy and occupied. And but the main thing is the finishing touches on the artwork and mastering for the new Hookers and Blow record, which will be out next year, or this year, I should say. I keep saying next year.
Right.
And just doing what I do.
Very cool. So what is the COVID safe for a band right now? Just
it depends on what state you're in, but usually it's like 25% with social distancing seating, and then you have to stay seated and wear a mask and all that. I mean, it's definitely not your typical rock concert, but it is helping some venues stay afloat with live music and keep the industry alive, which is desperately needed. I mean, so many people are out of work right now. It's definitely a big help having a few little pockets throughout the country being open for us, which is great.
I just see this being 25% of the income out of 100%. It's got to be hard for a club and for everybody. It's like the profit margin. But if you're not making any money,
well, but you know what? If it's 1,000-seater that usually does 300 or 400 paid, and you crunch the numbers a little bit, you can do it, because just because it holds 1,000 people doesn't mean every show they do does 1,000 people. Yeah. It's more about how you space them out.
I'm glad. I want them to do well.
Whatnot, but now they've kind of had a year to figure it out. I think you're going to see more and more of it.
Good. Well, that was the goal of the show, actually, to advertise as much as I can too on a small scale.
I appreciate it.
So, all right, brother. I want to thank you for your time. I know I got a little window here; it's closing, but I want to thank you. It's been pretty awesome.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it.
You the best.